like I really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming? Or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming? Or on the edge of remembering? Who will you be tomorrow? And what are you today? Okay, we are back. All right, so what's going on today? A bunch of things. At some point I have to get to painting, but that'll probably be after lunch. I wanted to do a couple of things today to start off. I first wanted to show you the stupidity of AI. Now, yeah, see, AI is an information system, and it gathers information, recollates it, and it can be creative with certain parameters, but it can't actually see. It can observe things that already exist, and it can get a basic idea, but it can't really translate it very well into human doing terms. And I wanted to use this as an example. We have a woman in this building who is quite the expert in crochet. So I came across, in my explorations of craft, of course, I don't crochet, but I saw that there was a pattern created by AI by request to make a crochetable cat face that looked like a cat face. And of course, as a crochet, it has to be one continuous string, right? One continuous yarn. You're not going to want to stop what you're doing, cut it off, and then have to sew it back together to make your little cat faces. So This would be more obviously a cat face, and I'll show you if this was a thinner yarn. The original design used something a little bit thicker than thread, like really fine stuff for tatting. This is the pattern, the cat face, and you can see where the ears come to the points here. That's the nose, the eyes, and then these are separated to kind of help represent whiskers. Now the original drawing was really cute, but it turned out that the problem with this is that you can't make it just one. You can make a row like this. You can knit it all the way down, or crochet it all the way down. But if you wanted to become anything, like have another row, there's no way. You actually have to crochet separate rails on which to crochet this. It can't be done in a logical way that people make things out of crochet or knitting. So it got the basic idea of the assignment. Create a pattern so that I can crochet a believable cat face. Make sure the ears are, clearly ears. I've seen a couple versions of it. Of course, the one that was best rendered turned out to be completely AI pretending it was doing this. And it didn't really show it other than, yeah, there's the drawing. You got to make all these rails. Like, basically, it's like setting out all your borders of an Afghan and having them all pinned up somewhere if you have that kind of wall space. And then you crochet that, and then you hook them all together to make your Afghan. So it's like, I can see why she did not want to go further, but she did make this as a sample for me. She took it on as a challenge because she likes to try different things. And she tried a few different things here, and no, AI is not everything. I know that the tech guys are trying to create a world where they control and own everything and give us a little base salary, a universal basic income. That is basically another way to do slavery without having to actually provide anything. They give you the base income, but they own everything you have to spend it on. Your housing, the banking is not going to be yours anymore. Nothing is going to be private. Already we've got that problem. So it's really about them controlling the planet. I mean, literally controlling the planet, which has been their intention. Unfortunately, it would be lovely if their ideas were ideals and, where everybody got along, which it's possible if you're not raised in hate. Unfortunately, it's all about them controlling the population right down to how many women, how many children, and what color. That's a big one for them. They're trying to create a white race. Now, the irony in that, aside from a million other things historians can point out, the irony is that these same white people can't wait to get out in the sun. They refuse to wear sunscreens because they want to tan. They spend their whole lives trying to be black. They pick up the black cooking and call it their own. And it's like, you guys don't know your own history. You want to be part of a white race? Please, go to Russia. Go to Russia, find out what it's like to live in a country controlled by a maniac. Because, we already know what it's like here, but... Oh yeah, I decided I was going to felt the little leaves to tack onto this. So what this is, weird little looking thing, are going to be little rosebuds. And after I get this all done, it'll be sewn onto my flower purse. And this will go through the loop that's already attached. So this will be the button closure without it being like a hard button. And it'll be right behind the biggest petal. So even if that falls forward, you'll see something cute. But I need to make the leaves. All right, let's just go ahead and do that. It's not a lot, and I've always got what I need handy, right? I watched some fun stuff being made today. That's what I love about the internet. You can see all kinds of ideas right in your face, in progress. I'm probably going to need a little bit more of this. Yeah. Just come here. Don't keep traveling. There you go, in the right direction. Not yet. I'm working really small here right now. I don't need a lot of this. Oh, might as well tear you in half too. Alright, I just happen to have some fresh soapy water. Okay, now that's too much water, so we're going to remove some of that. Yeah, you're very drippy. That's a little too wet. It's okay for just getting things, started. But then if you don't remove some of it, the fibers will just float past each other instead of knitting themselves together. Now I should do this with the pink as well. Excuse me. You just rest there, darling. We've got this will work. Same routine. Stay. Thank you. I want to keep this side very wispy. I don't think I'm going to need that much, but just in case. We've got some of this darker color here, which was used in the center piece of it. So we do want to hint to that. Okay, now we do the same little soapy drop there. Okay, let's see how you're doing. No wonder I get my massaging in. I massage this. I need to massage my back. No, still a little too soapy. Let's go to the smooth side. Let's try this method. It's small enough for this. That's right, I got a big one. No wonder my basket was so heavy. Special ordered that from Living Felt. Now I have to give a shout out to them because I've purchased a few times from them now, and their wool is beautiful and their service is great. My only objection now is with shipping being such a premium, even for this lightweight stuff, I'm looking for places, farms closer to home. They're out in Texas. My other favorite studio is also in Texas. But some of my favorites are the Netherlands, and I can't get there. You can do it any way you want. I just want to create that agitation and room for the stuff to just kind of slip and slide, as well as get pressure. Okay. Drag you up a little more. And this will squeeze the last over amount of water, all the excess out. Now, I haven't used it without the plastic, but we're going to give it a shot. Oh, too loose right there. Because we didn't have very much to cross it. I didn't really want to add too much to that, but let's go ahead and throw a little lavender in there. Hopefully it's not too late. No, we can still get a little bit across that. I hope. Well, we're going to find out. It will or it won't. On the good side, it's going to be needle felted after it's wet felted. So, hey. And you seem pretty good. Okay, we have a nice little piece of felt hair to wrap around the bottom of the rose buds. That's not a good sign. I think I just rolled it right off. Yep. Okay, we're gonna have to do it the hard way. soak in wet way. What I was trying to avoid. But let's give it a shot. This time gently. So gently I can have a sip of my tea. Now, I've got wool on my face. Maybe if to do enough of this, it'll take care of the arms. The old lady, flabby arms. Got to think I used to have muscle there. I can't really say I'm concerned because I didn't enjoy all that working out. I mean, it felt good at the time, but then it didn't. I just like doing things more naturally. Although Tai Chi is something we've added to the workouts. Okay. Yeah. We probably don't need one this long. So let's go switch to the small, which is perfectly fine for these little projects, except for the spacing of the weave. Okay, you stay there. Let's see. So we have this really weird purse. All the black is silk. And it's my first experiment using a lot of silk. And it's an experiment. But I can't just sit there and do a patch for an experiment. I have to mess around more. So I'm messing around more. Now I don't want to use more of the black silk, so I'm going to use black merino top, and I'm going to create another design into this to help anchor this. So I'll be using the needle felting techniques, and also it'll help thicken this up around the seams, which are, you know, can be very stressed. I did add extra silk on the inside around the seams because that will add strength to it, but that doesn't do anything for this here. So we're going to be doing a little bit of decorating. If I turn this inside out, the flap will just go like that over, and it's just not going to be interesting. Now this can be more felted, but I wanted to do the needle felting before I continue with that. As you can see, this, yeah, some of it's still coming up. This is the part that was facing the resist, so we're going to have to work it. But before I work it, I've got to make sure that the silk is anchored. And it might require some additions, but I'm trying to avoid that. Go for the extra texture of the poofy. Some of it is felted. I did put just little bits of the wispy wool around it. But I didn't want to cover up the beautiful sheen, so I left it as bare as possible. But let's go ahead and I'll have to go get the merino. I don't have it up here. Let's see. How you doing? You're not. Well, how about the rest of you? I think it's all right. Yeah, I think we're just going to continue with that because it's going to be wrapped, cut and wrapped around the bud to symbolize, you know, a rose. So I don't have to have, I really want it really very thin. And it's going to be needled, so yeah, that's nice and lacy. How are you there? You're beautiful. You came out great. It's even almost dry. All right, let's put that over here. And we're going to roll you a few more times because just feeling slightly insecure. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I definitely am not fond of having these little ridges. But you gotta try things to see if you like them or not. You can invent exercises around it. All right, that almost dried it out completely. All right, we've got a little bit of pre-felt that's going to be used later. Let that dry all the way. And we've got this. So let's get out a needle. I think I will use my medium. I'm missing my glasses. Okay, I've got to try and remember where I last used them. That used to be impossible when I was more nearsighted. But now that I'm a little bit less, just a little less nearsighted, I'm losing things. Well, at least they're in the same house. All right. Excuse me. Black wood. Okay, getting comfortable. Let's see. We're going to be adding to this. this. Because we need to tack that together. Hmm. Oh, you're getting too thin to use. a round one. I might have to make one. I'm going to make a roll after I get this part done. That's better. A bouncing bean. I know. Well, I know about the first one. The second one, your cat just has a lot of excess energy pent up. Not enough to do during the day. You got a 7-year-old kid in a 1-bedroom apartment. You're lucky he doesn't have opposable thumbs. Aloha! A bouncing beanie. But you gotta admit, that is cute as hell. Just not when you want to sleep. Yeah, it's early for you. He likes doing a late night hole run, right? He's a night owl, like most cats. I think they're, what do they call it, diurnal? They're not strictly nocturnal. You might want to get a dog next time. They switch to your hours. You have scheduled times to walk them. You schedule when they eat, and they go along with it, because dogs are people pleasers, and cats are independent when it comes to that. Not independent as can get along without humans, just independent as their thoughts matter as just as much as humans. I hope you're out there with him just in case anybody else pops out. So how goes Mrs. Kravitz? Miss Kravitz, who wants to become a Mrs. Yeah, it's like he knows he's on camera. Oh, wait, if you're recording. Let me strike a pose and then, blink at you as if I didn't know what you were doing. the silk is so soft, but it's not sticking where I want it to stick. So we have to get a little bit more aggressive. Battening down the hat just a little. But, oh my goodness. All right. Over there. Oops, sorry about that. I will never use this color for anything. It's too neon to be a pumpkin. And it's a color I don't think any human should wear unless they're in jail. Come on. I don't know if that'll work. Not really, no. It's too well felted already. I just have to use hot glue on this or something. Oh yeah. I have popped almost all the bubbles in this piece of styrofoam. This should be too stiff to do anything like this with. Oh well. It was good while it lasted. But now it's caca. It's hopeless. Into the trash you go. Alright, and now I have to do the felting do. I'm not ready to get soaking wet. It is getting close to making lunchtime, and then we're going to be painting today because I'm out of paintings, and poor Gloria did not get a single thing mailed to her this week. And that's the first week I have missed, well, since I started this. I did make some felted cloth to finish my little rosebud button. It'll be cute, but not today. No, today is other stuff day. There is one thing I can do right here. This was something I initially made for Gloria, and I tried to leave a lot of spaces, like holes in it, to let the light through, because this is actually a, what do you call it? A night light. You put a little LED light in it, and it lights up, and it's really pretty. But in my attempt to make it so delicate, I kind of blew it in strength. This is ridiculous. I'll have to design my own felting pad for all the weird shapes I'm making. Yeah. That was the kind of feeling I was going for. Because we got the, you know, dark color on the bottom, and then, but also I wanted it to be a little bit reminiscent, like, I don't know, a flame. Just so I can leave a lot of light in it, or light to come through it, rather. definitely getting more flower-like. So what else is new? I got some spray starch to work with too. I haven't tried it yet, but it should be interesting. Roads out from the rain. I apparently ran myself out of sesame seeds. I thought I had another bag. I don't. I was surprised. So that'll be the first thing I order on the 1st of the month. Oh, you weren't expecting it? Well, I had a wonderful dinner last night. I was able to get to the grocery store and get some fresh greens. So I got some broccoli rabe, and I have to tell you, that's a damn good deal. It's a super antioxidant. It's super good for your liver. It's one of the most nutritious vegetables on the planet. And one batch of it, when you open it up, it's like 4 servings, so it comes out to be like $1 a serving. It's so worthwhile. So I sauteed that up, and I sauteed some asparagus, which I also love. Also really good for you. I had a chicken leg, thigh and all. Oh, and I wilted some arugula. Oh my God, it was such a good meal. So today I'm thinking of having, one of the ways they eat the rabe in Italy, where it's used a lot, is to cook it with garlic and oil and serve it with white beans. So, I have butter beans. I do love my butter beans. I wonder if I could get that to wet felt at all. All right, we're going to put this over in the we're going to be wet later pile. Now, in trying to help educate people about their contribution to pollution. Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's good. It didn't disrupt your garden too much. Whoop, sorry. Well, one of the things I do to fight pollution is I don't buy detergent anymore in jugs, because in truth they're not recycled. They are massive polluters, and no matter what it says on the side of the big jugs, nobody does anything with them except collect them and throw them away. Well, these are 2 kinds of dollar store laundry sheets. It's the soap with all the water out of it, so it doesn't weigh anything. It's one little envelope, which has got a, Ziploc, and it was $1.50 a package, and each package has 15 sheets, 1 sheet per load. It works great, and I just throw it in first and let the hot water go for a minute, let it dissolve really well, and then I put it back to cold or medium, warm water. And you just throw it in there with it. A really large load uses 2 sheets. You can do this with hand washing too, because it's gentle on your skin. So stop carrying around big plastic jugs. Get yourself any brand will do. They're all pretty good these days. It's just dried soap. Like when we were kids, Maui, what did we have? Flakes, right? Ivory Flakes was one of the big popular sudsy soaps. And there was just a box of powder. The reason people wanted to get away from that was because a lot of those powders did not dissolve well in cold water. So they made a liquid. But you can make a liquid by putting it in some hot water, mixing it up until it dissolves, and pouring it into your cold water, and voila. It didn't weigh anything because it was a powder and it was light. And so shipping was lower, the box was cardboard and recyclable, and minimal impact on the planet. Now it's all about huge impact, and very few people are doing anything to remedy that. I did a load yesterday, or yeah, I did a load yesterday. There was a woman in there. She had a shopping basket, nothing in it except all the big plastic jugs that she used to do her laundry. So, like, we don't need to be doing that. We need to stop doing that. It's bad for our backs, it's bad for the environment. We don't need to keep, and by the way, plastic uses oil. So as the oil goes up, so does the cost of the plastics. Okay, now on to the next subject. This is a piece of a huge scarf I bought, just solid black so that I could do felting on it. It's very stretchy. So actually I don't know how well this will do felting, but when I was looking at a video today, they were recommending that we don't use the ironing protection sheet that I use. And I get it, because the holes are so big and this is so stiff actually. It's meant to protect your ironing, so you put this between the iron and their delicates. We also have been using this to wet everything down because it lets the water through and you can measure. But the problem with this is it's so large that as it starts felting, it felts to this and threads come up, and then I end up with different color fuzzies stuck in these like that. So they recommend you using mosquito net. I know what that's like because I used to have one. I didn't go out on the farm without mosquito net hanging off my wide-brimmed hat. I don't have anything like that, so I'm hoping this will work. So we're going to try this later. It's just a stretchy something. I forget what it actually is. We know it's synthetic, so it's not going to felt. But just like with silk, if the fibers are fine enough, they will go through it. So like if you're going to be doing, I think it's called Nuno felting, which is wet felting on silk. The silk is going to be fine as long as your wool is like 19 microns or lower. The smaller, 16 to 19 microns, it can migrate through the silk and set up, whereas others won't. Hello there. How are you, vaping cat? So what I'm going to be doing after lunch is painting again. I need some small paintings to mail out. I even went to the dollar store, that's where I'm showing the sheet detergent for your clothes. They did not have any cards that were just general, or they only had 2 cards that were empty inside, and I already bought both of those. So I don't want to send the same cards to the same person. Everything in cards, this is what it's all for our little miniature friend, Gloria. Now I got some okay watercolor paper, but it's nice that it's all even, it's rounded corners, and I tried taping it, but the tape, even the really small tape, it pulled up paper, so we're not going to use any tape on these. We're just going to have to do it with a little bit more imagination. So give me a minute while I grab the necessary accoutrements. And here are accoutrements. Thank you. Okay, here are the pigments, and now I need a jar of water. And there's my jar. go. Sponge. I see. Why are people sending me messages while I'm live? Ah, that's why. My sister said, I love you too. Doc said, I'll wait till noon to check on the garden. Very pretty picture. And who else? Whiskers and things liked my picture. Okay. Close all except you guys. All right, if you're going to type to me, thank you for using all caps so that I have a chance of actually seeing it. All right, let's see what we're going to do. Let's set up a few of these because I also like to send something to my Harvey. So Harvey and Gloria. Let me get a couple of backgrounds going. Shall we use some iridescence for the fun of it? Why not? All right. Oh, excuse me. That has paint in it. And I don't need the paint on the floor. So I decided, now I've got lots of stuff to paint with because I've been painting, you know, a long time. But I need room for this, for my felting, because that means more right now. Between felting and writing, those are the only two things I want to do, and also cooking and eating. But craft-wise, I am just sick of painting. The little bottles, yes. As a matter of fact, the artist, the Rotring blendable, I was one of the first people selling it when it came out in the 80s. I am very familiar. And I really liked that system because it came with a good color chart that told you how many drops of each one to make that color. But I'm not, I'm more into this kind of watercolors now. I get the tubes and then I squeeze the tubes into my plastic palette to use them like dry pans. Like this. So what I'm going to do, oh, thank you for coming out. What I'm going to do is some backgrounds, let them dry so then I can come back in with the watercolor pencils later on. Now, one of my favorite colors is Naples Yellow. Naples Yellow is just a beautiful, mostly white pigment. Ugh, I hate when I get little things in there. No, I'm not trying to get an even fade. I just don't want it to go all the way to the edge. I forgot about this. Yeah, so it doesn't really like, it's 140 pound, not my favorite. I'm more of a 300, 400 pound. these discs. Oh, these are, they call them discs. We call them pans. Pans. And why are you shedding? I don't like that. You should not be shedding. I'm gonna have to pick that out later. Like that. So what do you like to paint? Kohinoor makes good products. My favorite thing from Kohinoor was actually their technical pens, because I used to like to do my doodles with a 6-aught tech pen. Tiny, tiny, tiny. I like tiny. These are all iridescents. And we're just gonna play a little. Oh yeah, they made good products. It was worth paying a little more for their stuff. What iridescent do I want to throw in there? Oh, does it? Well, that's wonderful that you can get your hands on all that. Well, everything here is imported. Even my paints come from France, for the most part. Well, France and China. What the hell was I thinking? Oh, some of my wool got on the tips of my brushes. I thought there's a long hair sticking out, and it turned out to be a whole mess of wool. Oh, there. So what have you been up to? I think I only got to say hi to you the last time you were here. And either I was leaving or you only had a minute. I mean, the world knows how crazy things are right now for Americans, so I don't need to go there. I understand. But see, I think that's one of the problems that happens when you get too educated in art. Because you become so critical, you can't create anything. And you hold yourself up. I know I'm going to produce some shit. I just let it go. I don't have time to stop and go, oh yeah, I'm making little drawings, quick, down and dirty, to mail to a woman who's 99 years old and a man who's 95. So they're not particular. They're just glad to get something in the mail that they can still kind of see. Okay, you sit over here and dry. And no, I don't need any more of that right now. Back to this one. Moody this week, huh? Oh, I've been doing the same thing. That is my answer to making sure I don't slip into melancholia over the times. That is a really healthy thing. Matter of fact, last night, what did I watch? Oh, I was watching Hello Dolly again. I think I stopped about halfway so I could do some other work. But Hello Dolly, On a Clear Day, You Can See Forever. I haven't seen Cinderella in a while, but I kind of wore that out during a depressing period. It's important to keep your spirits up. Now, I have some awesome comedies, but my DVD players are not working anymore for some stupid reason. Since last December, an update rendered my computers unable to read my DVDs. Don't ask me what it is, because it seems like nobody can figure it out. So, not too thrilled on that, because I put together quite a collection of things that a lot of them are not available anymore. My Man Godfrey. Oh man, I don't even remember a thing about that. My Man Godfrey. Who was in that? Refresh my memory. I watched One Touch of Venus. Sing low when you speak love. Our summer day withers away. Too soon, too soon. I go for the musicals. Carol Lombard. You know, I'm thinking I never actually saw that movie. How weird is that? William Powell, I liked him. Oops, we got some in the wrong place. Oh well. Oh, okay. Yeah, I either own it or I have to see it for free. I do have a limited subscription to Netflix. The price just went up. I hope if it went up, it's because they gave Stephen Colbert a show. Because he deserves it. And whoever gets Colbert is going to have a built-in audience. Oh, why not? Oh, really? Well, that's pretty cool. I don't have any roots like that. Although I did watch Danny Kaye yesterday in The Court Jester. That's what I watched from ancient times. That had Basil Rathbone in it playing the bad guy. Killer with the sword. I like that. That's de-stressing. De-stressing, not distressing. It's a great way to deal with moodiness, melancholia, outright depression. I very rarely get depressed, although it would be easy to slip into that these days. But comedy definitely is good for the soul. Oh yeah? No idea who he is, of course. You know how sheltered we are. So is that like available on a local channel, or how do you get hold of that? Oh really? Is it, why? Is it a native thing? I mean, like, is it a normal accent that just is not good in the movie, or is he trying a different language and it sucks? Oh, I see everything's off camera now. I'm just like tossing it over here so it can dry. Yeah, they have to dry so I can press them. And then we're going to come back in with the colored pencils, watercolor pencils. He was, okay. Oh, okay. So, Czechoslovakian is not his native language, and he had to speak it. I don't know if I could tell the difference in the accents, honestly, because I haven't heard people speak those languages side by side. Oh my, I've heard that one. I had a step grandfather who was from Hungary. Well, that had to be funny. I mean, you know where it's coming from, so you can laugh at it. I would think. I'm a big fan of the TV show The Big Bang Theory, and I own all the episodes, so I've got them practically memorized by now. When I was going through the last year of my divorce and then recovering from it, that became my show to go to just for comforting voices and like familiarity. And there is an episode, one of the characters is Indian, and he's got a very pronounced Indian accent, New Delhi. And his best bud, if he has any accent, it would be a Jewish accent. New York Jewish, or I guess California Jewish. I'm not really sure. Not a strong accent, but he's playing a Jewish guy. It can sound convincing. Ah, okay. Yeah, I'd have to hear it. You know, I certainly have no point of reference for it. Although my grandparents spoke 8 languages and would not teach me any of them. And their English was their 8th language. They were originally from Poland, so they spoke every language of the area, I guess. They spoke Russian, they spoke some German, but they didn't really want to. They spoke Hebrew. I forget, because they couldn't speak enough English to tell me what they spoke. But they did eventually get the hang of it, at least enough so that they could function in society. Let me, goodness. Oh, well, I don't know. See, Americans, well, it's 3,000 miles wide. We have lots of accents all in the same country, which is to be expected. There is no such thing as an American language. People try to make English the American language, but it's not. Because English was definitely not the first language spoken. And even our founders, for them, French was the language of the educated. And if you were a smart person, if you wanted to be respected in society, you spoke French in this country. So, things have changed a lot. So there are accents that I've heard all over the country because I've lived on both coasts and in between. And just even in North Carolina, now it's the South, you expect Southern accents. But even in just our area, there were different accents because, well, they had the hill folk, and the hill folk don't spend too much time around educated people. I don't mean like Asheville Hill. I mean lower in the woods, hill folk. And I one day in the grocery store heard this little girl and her mother talking. And my husband and I looked at each other like, what on earth is that child saying? She's speaking English, we think. It was so distorted that we started cracking up because she sounded kind of like the way a banjo sounds when it's being played. Her voice was really, and her mother, it was like, what are you saying? Yeah, see? In this country, it's insane. So technically, most people speak the language of English. How it is pronounced, yeah, you can go down the street and it's different. I mean, I live in a building, we've got about 535 people all over the place. And we have accents from Creole, French, Haitian, English that was spoken really poorly in poor neighborhoods, English that came from Italian, English that came from Irish, English that... So you've got all these different accents mixed in. You cannot look at somebody and say, well, that's an American accent. There is no American accent. And in that episode of The Big Bang Theory, Raj, with the Indian accent, was being teased by his friend who was saying when he tries to sound American, he sounds like he's overpronouncing and he's wearing some giant-sized dentures. And of course I cracked up at that. And then they imitate each other, and it's just funny because, I don't tease anybody because of their accent. I actually love different accents. I want to hear more what they've got to say. But English has been so bastardized by the people who live here. It will never sound the same. New York is different from California. Not as wide as you would think. The difference is mostly in attitude. The language is still pretty recognizable. No, those are not. They'd like to be, but it's just the rural areas that they're so spread out that you got to remember where they came from. They settled from Germany and the Dutch. So we've got the Dutch and the Deutsch all in the same area. And then we've got other populations mixed in that have been like that for over 100 years. So, yeah, the accents have definitely gone through the mill. Now, see, for me, I was born and raised in New York. For me, the normal American accent is New York. But then when I moved to California, it wasn't that different. It was more of a little bit more of a lazy way of talking, I guess. But a lot of people went from New York to California, so they brought that back and forth with them. And my cousins, who were mostly raised and some born in California, they sound very much like I do. My accent varies more than anybody else's I know without speaking a different language because, well, in entertainment, you start practicing different things for the fun of it, and you pick up things like, you're used to listening a certain way. So I picked up Gaelic accents, but not one in just one distinct area. So like when I would go to the Renaissance Fair, and all day long you're speaking with an accent, and the accent has to be, if you're playing part of the fair, you've got to be an English accent, an Irish or a Scottish accent to fit in. So since I was raised in none of that, I faked it. But I faked the Irish one so well, apparently I convinced some people visiting from Ireland that I really was from Ireland. and they were trying to force me to break character so that I could prove that the guy does, like, I know you're from Ireland. I know you're from Ireland. So I'm not from Ireland, and I'm not from Scotland either. But it would just be a jumble, you know. And this guy was really sincerely trying to figure out where in Ireland I was from. And finally, I just broke into New Yorkese. What guy? I'm telling you, I'm not from Ireland. I'm from New York. I'm playing a part. And everybody was like, which was a delight for me. No, I don't think so. Not here. That's why, although we have white supremacists trying to make English the official and only language spoken in this country, that's never going to happen. We do not have an official religion. We do not have an official language. That's one of the things that separates America from a lot of other countries that have been heavily influenced by their region in terms of their religion, you know. It's very possible. I don't know the etymology of that. But yeah, lots of stuff develops that way. There's no reason to put things in stone, you know, like in school. You learn basic things in school. You learn how to spell a few things, right? You basically learn what's relevant to your life if it's a smaller community. And then you don't really question it, right? Until you go outside of that community and you hear things differently. So it's you know, it's all interesting. I used to really be into word origins. I had a bunch of books on that. Like, where did this come from? And then years later, a lot of those things were proven wrong, as I've been studying the wrong stuff. The research was not as good. That's like my father. My father created the first all-black encyclopedia in the world, and he was quite famous for it at the time. The thing is that they had primitive researching going on. They did not have access to the real meat of black history. And it was years later that once black people felt more comfortable in sharing their history, we started seeing more, and the books started coming out more. I mean, we found the books. But by then, my father was out of the business, and everything was just frozen as it was. So that encyclopedia was outdated within 20 years of its creation, which should not happen when you're talking about history. But that's how much the black history in this country has been concealed by white slave owners. Yeah, see, we're trying not to do anything like that. Like I said, right now we've got a white supremacist Nazi government, fascist government. So that changes things radically. They are trying to create enough detention centers to arrest literally everyone who doesn't agree with the government. That is their plan. So we have some serious issues here. I recommend that nobody come to the United States or do business with the U.S. right now. Focus on your own stuff as much as you can, because right now we're poison. Until we have a new administration, this country can't be trusted. I never thought I would live to say that about the country I was born in and raised in and loved all my life, but nope. Not with this particular administration. They're dangerous. They're evil. I've never thought of any, I mean, people do bad things. I've never known them to be evil, but now we have evil in government. Oh, I know. But it's important that you want to be able to preserve what's important in your culture. But you don't want to get so wrapped up in it that you block out or make other cultures wrong just for existing, like the way the Armenians were destroyed in so many ways. I mean, we still have Armenians, thank God. But, you know, any genocide is, yeah. Oh, Nope, don't want to go there right now. I'm trying to keep my head out of politics for the weekend because I need to. One of the things that makes me moody is seeing what these people are doing. Closed door votes, doing things in the middle, literally in the middle of the night, so the Democrats don't know about it. I mean, it's really a sneaky, ugly thing that's going on. Meantime, our president is full of dementia and shit, and he just sits there and falls asleep in front of everybody. Oh, he's just resting his eyes. We have a whole bunch of people that just make up excuses. Their whole job could be, I make up excuses for the president, make him look like he's a man when he's really just a puppet. Okay. The Romanis? Probably not. No, well, the Romani was... Well, they were pretty much scattered to the wind by the Russians, weren't they? The gypsies, we knew them as the gypsies. They had a bad reputation because they were kept on the lam all the time. They were basically exterminated. Same thing. Everybody takes their turn getting killed. Look at all the slavery that came out of Slovakia. I mean, people kidnapped from all over the area, kidnapped and put into slavery. So yeah, we got a lot of bad history. And in a way, you know, what's going on here is really good. It's good in the fact that it's bringing to light everything disgusting about this country and the world. What we see in humans, and we tolerate or let them hide it because they're rich enough to get away with it. And so right now, what this administration is doing so well, not intentionally, but they're really pointing up everything that's wrong here. And it's basically laying out the path of how we're going to take care of that. So it's a terrible thing to realize that we have so much of this in our country. On the other hand, people have been observant, have been busy living their own life. They don't know what's going on with the ultra-rich. The ultra-rich are just another, well, we call them the Epstein Class. So we've got a lot of trouble, but it's all being exposed now. People are actively digging to unveil all the secrecy and pin the tail on the right donkey of who's doing the crimes. So we've got a lot of very evil people with a lot of money, and like the tech people, their plan is to take over the world. It's very simple. They believe that that little handful of assholes can run the whole world by themselves and with the help of AI and robots. So they're offering, or they want to come up with a universal paycheck for everybody. So you get a bottom line amount of money every month. Now, for the lazy idiots, that might work. But they don't know that the way it's going to be set up is that you won't own anything. You can't own a home. You can't even own your bank account. Everything is going to be controlled. All your food has to go through them. So you get a tiny allowance, but it's not going to be enough for you to do anything but cover your basics. And they're going to own all those basics. That's their plan. That's what they're working on right now. This is real. So you know it's going to happen. I keep saying it, and I'm convinced that this administration does not know real Americans, and they don't know real America. And they don't know what disaster they're really courting. They think that they can control it. But you know, you anger enough people and you freak them out, especially because they're less educated than they were 30 years ago. You know it's going to happen. It's a foregone conclusion. I plowed fields in Austria, then I plowed field in Hungary, then I plowed field in Czechoslovakia, now I play field, and I also drink. Yep, okay. That's rural as hell. That's very southern. Very southern. That's where the expression, hold this, hold this. Actually, it's a little bit more, but Watch this shit. Hold my beer. And then they proceed to do something completely moronic. I read something today that was like, well, this figures. 30 years ago, Texas was run by a Democrat woman. 30 years ago, Texas education was way up. And now, over the last 30 years of Republican rule, they're now 47th in education. I think Alabama is lower than them, and Oklahoma and Mississippi. Basically, Republican governors mean stupid people in that state. So if you ever decide to visit here, or can, which will be probably at least a decade from now, you'll want to know who's ruling what state, because that's where the stupid is. And I've had lots of Republican friends, so you know what? I can say who the stupid is. I watch them make the same bad mistakes over and over, not just politically, but in their own lives. It's like, you are making a mistake here. Over the head. No, 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 I always did this before. My daddy votes like that. I actually heard that. No, my daddy votes like that. It's like, okay, well, when you become your dad, let me know. It really is pathetic what some people have been coming to. And you know what? One of the people that helped cause it actually issued an apology on TV, like it matters. I'm really sorry I helped promote Trump. I'm sorry I helped him get elected. I'm really sorry. It's like, fuck you and you're sorry. You did it and you'd probably do it again. So, yeah, I don't need to hear their apologies. What are they doing to remedy the situation now? You know? Right. Yeah. Same thing down south. The artists you started to find in more recent years. Because before that it was like just practical crafts for living. And most of your energy was spent farming. Because if you didn't farm, you didn't eat. I lived for 17 years down there on a farm in the middle of farm country, deep rural south. And I can tell you the amount of stupid is not exaggerated. It just depends on where you're standing, of course, you know. There were very smart people there. Matter of fact, one of the best medical schools is there. So it's not all bad. It's just so ignorant. It's really heartbreaking. It's like, how can you people be so stupid? Didn't you go to school? I mean, any school? And then I found out a lot of them dropped out in 8th grade because they needed to work on the farms. It's like, oh, okay, well now I understand. And as far as art, who had money for art supplies? Who had money and time to do that? Yes, there were people doing music on their front porch. There were people that did, well, they did drawing, sketching, stuff like that, but it wasn't, except in the more, well, the cities like Raleigh or Charlotte, where more started happening. And they have a very respectable art culture. There's something called the Southern Highlands Guild, and they have an amazing gallery of all kinds of the arts that North Carolina is known for, which once was pottery. Pottery was one of the big ones. pottery and furniture. Making furniture. Hey, that's something. I don't know what poetry came out of that area. There were people who could wax poetic, and they told good stories, you know. So there were smart people, and I found them at the bookstores. The owners of the bookstores were the smart ones, and I got involved with them very quickly until my ex became insane. It is almost 2 o'clock. You know what that means? Food. It's time to stop and cook. Yes, 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 exactly. But see, those are wonderful things to know, right? They're good crafts. You can make jewelry. You can make practical appliances. They're really useful things. So yeah, utility art. That's what I'm doing. I'm making pocketbooks. Did you see my flower pocketbook? I'm so happy with it. I'm making a button closure. These are going to be turned into little rosebuds. I made some felt onto it. I'll finish those soon. Now see, for utility, I started this whole pocketbook thing not because I'm trying to get famous making custom pocketbooks, because I bought some inexpensive dresses and none of them had pockets. And I hate anything without pockets. I'm a pocket person. This fancy dress, well, it doesn't look so fancy now, but this was actually an expensive dress years ago. It has pockets. I love this dress because of that. I don't think so. I'm sorry, I spoke so much. It's like I don't think so on what? I'll have to have you finish this sentence. Yes. Well, that is actually why I love felting, wet felting, because I miss clay. I've only got some air dry clay, because I don't have a kiln. My kiln is long gone. So I miss that, the whole sculptural, textural, get your hands in the clay bit. So I discovered wet felting. And wet felting is actually giving me just as much satisfaction. Well, almost. It's just different. Because I sat with some wet felt and just kept molding it. And oh, I don't think so. Okay, let me go grab it. Okay, so my challenge is I'm making these out of 100% natural fibers, no metal, no plastic. So that is my purse. That button is going to go here. This is wet felted, and also I needle felted these parts all together. I made these leaves with wet felting. How lacy they are. Oh, they came out so good. And of course I made the vine. That's the back. It weighs like nothing. And yeah, I just am so happy with the way this came out. Paper clay was good. Yeah, I like paper clay. As a matter of fact, that's what this necklace is made of. paper clay, the black is Fimo. So the white is paper clay. Way less messy. Well, I'll tell you, it is a little messy making this stuff. It's not that bad though, because you contain it. It's just soap and water. It's like just soap and water and agitation. So you just have to remember how to lay out the fibers. And when you have the fibers properly layered, they will knit together with water, soap, and agitation and rubbing. And the more you rub it, the more it felts. So it's pretty good. No, it's not. This is way cheaper. I can't sew. That's why I'm so thrilled about this. It's kind of like combining my love of wanting to make things to wear, my lack of skills in anything like that. I can't knit, crochet, or sew. I've tried. I sincerely tried. I even invested 3 times in sewing machines. And I had to give them all away to somebody who could really use them because it was a waste for me to keep it around and not use it. But I'm useless with that stuff. I'm more known for breaking needles and making knots. But the felting, you turn loose fiber. And by the way, this is definitely the cold climate kind of thing. Netherlands is big on this. So you just get your wool and you layer it properly in these little wispy tufts, and it knits together in your hands, and you end up with fabric that you can cut, you can sew, you can make it stay on silk. Oh, that'd be so cool. Well, no, think about it. Plan it out. Do some sketches, see how it feels. You'll hit upon something and you'll feel like, you know what, I can do this. I wanted, when I was an entertainer, I wanted costumes because back then, women, except for hard rockers on, big bands, we had to pretty much wear a uniform of a white top and a black bottom, usually a skirt. So I used to wear full-length skirts in black and the white tops, so it always looked feminine and you could appear anywhere, including libraries. Okay, so boring. And then when I started doing more upbeat kinds of things and venues, I needed more costuming. But I learned also when you're playing the instrument, you can't have things that dangle, get caught in your guitar. You can't have jewelry that clanks against things. So I ended up with a bunch of holes in my ears because I thought, well, I can wear a lot of earrings and they won't interfere and it adds something. But it was really hard to find clothing that matched my music and my spirit. So I wanted to sew my own and I couldn't. It was really frustrating. I couldn't find enough clothing that was my real inner style. So when I learned about this, it was like, I can't sew, but I can do this. I will make things. So the first thing that I started looking for was, I have a 100-year-old silk scarf that is in terrible, terrible condition after 50 years of traveling. So it turns out that wet felting is a way to, you can do it on silk. And I found something called a cobweb scarf. I said, well, that's perfect because my scarf is already full of holes where the silk just, basically dissolved. So I'm waiting for one more color of wool to come in, and I'm going to attempt my first, what is it called? Nano? I want to call Nanu, but that's Mark and Mindy. Nuno felting. It's silk felting. You felt on top of silk and make it all part of it. So that's my big project, and I've been collecting stuff to make a really cool scarf using that as the foundation. So this is the scarf, and you see over the years the blue silk tassels do not match the body. So I have on order, and I don't know when it'll be here, but not too long, a color that I think is going to be a perfect match, or the closest of what I've gotten so far. Yep, this was more aquamarine when I bought it 50 years ago. But you see all these holes? I mean, most people would just have thrown this away, but all I could think of was this. I bought this when it was 50 years old already, and I've carried it around coast to coast and coast and coast, back and forth a few times, and yeah, it just keeps tearing more easily. The cool thing is, though, for a cobweb scarf, you can cover the holes, but you could also leave them open and add the strength all around it so it doesn't just fall apart when you touch it like this does. I also have some blue silk yarn, which is, the silk yarn is about this thick. It's very, very thin. And it's kind of an aquamarine. It's kind of between these blues. Yeah, so I'm collecting everything I need to create something new and glorious. But when you are working with the wet felt, you can, well, you can do this. You can make it take shape. So it is very tactile, but extremely clean, because it can't get any cleaner. It's just soap and water. I love that. That was one of the reasons I liked making soap. It's like, well, it's time to clean up. Oh, look at that. It's all soap and water. It was easy. I like that. But I see we have Doc Grady sent me a photo of me with the wings of victory and two falcons. Maui, you're getting stranger in your old age. Doc Grady made me into a falconer. A falconer? I don't know. I do not know. Okay, well, I'm going to go and make some good food. I'll be back later. I'll see how fast I can make some good food. I got all that beautiful fresh broccoli rabe. I had some last night, though. I should probably trade them out. And come back again soon. Come on, we can do this. You can make something cool. Oh, and by the way, with this, you can make a bunch of little pre-felts, and then you can get them all attached in other stuff and make like a coat of many colors. It's up to your imagination. You can do a lot. And if I learned this, anybody can learn this. Oh, no, it's not any fair. I went out of my way to learn this. I watched countless videos of different people doing the same thing over and over again, and then different things. So I have been absorbing and experimenting, and I have now made 3 purses. This is the 4th purse. But see, I started working with silk, and silk does not felt, so you have to find different ways to make it stick. So this was the first part of it. That is viscose. That's why it's so shiny. And the only way the viscose or silk stays on, like that's silk, is by using your wool over it and making it felt together. So that was the first one, playing with silk, and then this one is actually going to replace this one for the original thing I had this designated for. It's to go with a dress. I have this dress right here. But as you can see, the colors in this match the dress, flowers and details, but the background is completely the wrong color, so this doesn't work. I'm new to designing. I'm keeping these kinds of things in mind. It's like, oh, I need the major color, but I don't have that particular shade of beige. So I went with the light coffee wool, and the light coffee wool with black is not a bad match. This is, it goes well. The black is picked up everywhere, as long as I don't add any more, I mean, that's as random as it's gonna get. So this is silk right there. It's so fuzzy, but the silk, like I said, it doesn't felt. You gotta needle point it in, needle felted, which is a little different. So I needle felted some of this today. I got some wool attached. It's a different black than the silk, but that's okay. And then when I come back, I'm going to finish up a couple of these paintings so I can get one mailed Monday. Or maybe I'll just go right into this, because I need to continue felting this one and the other one, after which they will get ironed and turned into pocketbooks. So I hope that you can design an outfit that you are really going to love being outstanding in. Why be like everybody else, right? You're here to be different. We all are. We're not here to just fall in line and be like everyone else, although that can be very comforting. When you feel like an outsider as a teenager, it's nice to fit in. But as an adult, I really like being original, and I insist on it. So I'm making my own pockets, because none of my dresses have any pockets, and that's what got this whole thing started, pockets. So I looked it up in French, and a pocket of joy is poche de joie. So I'm making poche de joie, or poche de joie. I like it in French. And that's it for now. Let me find my mousey so I can turn this off. If you're around, well, it's going to be later for you, so I'll say sweet dreams to you later. I'll probably be at least an hour and a half, possibly even 2 hours, because I like to eat slowly and enjoy my food. It's like a ritual, you know. So until next time, I'm so glad that you could stop in today and hang out. Let me my webs and my hearts and my wish for peace.